Ladies and gentlemen, sisters and brothers in wisdom and in wear, you who have walked through the fire of decades and emerged, not charred, but sculpted by grace, permit me your ear and heart today. We gather not merely to pass time, but to reckon with it. We gather to feel the weight of our words, and yes, to explore their worth. Prayer, sacred, solemn, and for many of us, the last and lasting balm against the bruises of life, is where our truth meets the divine. But even in that sacred space, language can betray us. This moment is not for correction, but for reflection. It is not a reprimand, but a revelation. You see, there are 3 words, small, common, seemingly harmless, that when spoken in prayer by those seasoned with years, can cage the spirit instead of setting it free. 3 words that sound humble, even faithful, yet echo with doubt, resignation, and fear. I am just. Say it aloud with me. Not as a chant, but as a challenge. I am just. A whisper that hides inside the cry. A phrase that shrinks the soul, even as it calls out to heaven. I am just a mother. I am just an old man now. I am just trying to make it. Oh, how our mouths form these syllables so gently, like tucking in a child for bed. But I tell you this, there is no divinity in diminishing your light. Our elders, our seasoned ones, should be the trumpet, not the tambourine. Should be the horizon, not the footnote. You have not lived long only to grow quiet. You have not survived loss, war, inflation, discrimination, strokes, the dying of loved ones, and the changing of eras, only to fold into smallness in your most sacred dialogue with the Creator. When you say, I am just, you announce limitation in the very space where limitlessness lives. Prayer is the language of faith, and faith, my friends, is not modest. It is not timid. Faith is bold enough to knock on the doors of the impossible and expect them to open. Let me tell you of a woman I once knew. She was nearing 90, skin like paper lanterns, smile like gospel. Every morning she sat on her porch and prayed aloud. One day I heard her say, Lord, I am just thankful to still be here. That word just, it slid in so soft like it belonged. But I watched her spirit shrink as she said it, as though she were apologizing for her presence on earth, as though her longevity was a burden, not a blessing. You see, when we use that word, we negotiate with the heavens for crumbs instead of taking our place at the table where wisdom breaks bread, the table where prayers aren't wishful, they're declarations. I don't bring this to your attention to shame you, but to awaken you. The world has enough whisperers. Let the young be unsure. Let them fumble and figure it out. But you with your silver crowns and your tired feet that still dance in memory, you were made to speak with authority, even to the skies. Prayer is not the time to beg for breath. It is the time to claim it. Let us take inventory. How many times have we asked God, can you still use me, instead of declaring, I am ready to be used. I am just too old now. Oh, but Sarah was in her 90s when she gave birth to destiny. Moses was 80 when he walked into Pharaoh's palace. The sages of every faith tradition are never the spry, they are the seasoned, but we have allowed the rust of age to corrode our vocabulary. We call ourselves just retirees, just grandparents, just watching the world go by. Stop draping divine purpose in dismissal. Stop caging power in passivity. When you speak to the divine, speak with the fullness of your history. Do not erase your struggle, your knowledge, your capacity to transform even now. The Creator knows who you are, but your words must match your essence. Let me be even more clear. I am not suggesting arrogance. This is not about puffing up the chest. This is about unshackling the tongue. There is a difference between humility and hiding. Seniors often equate soft words with reverence, but you can be reverent and still radiant. You can be respectful and still resolute. Prayer should not be a whisper of worthlessness. It should be a trumpet of truth. Now let us look at the second word, only. I only want a little peace. I only want to get by. I only ask for a quiet end. What modesty, what restraint. But who taught you that asking for less was righteous? When you kneel, or sit, or walk, or lie in bed, wherever you speak with God, do not whittle down your dreams to make others comfortable. You are not only anything. You are not only here to fade. You are not only here to wait for death, like it is a bus you missed 20 years ago. Every breath you draw is a creative force. Every word you speak in prayer writes a line in the story of what's possible. Only is a word of retreat, of scarcity, of caution. But you, beloved, have no need to be cautious in the presence of abundance. You didn't live 70 or 80 or 90 years to whisper only into the wind. You lived to roar, to speak still. Still I rise, still I matter, still I dream, still I pray for more. There's a false nobility in asking for less, but there is no virtue in self-erasure. What if we prayed like this? God, give me vision beyond my years. Let me be a voice in my community. Make me a mentor to those who have lost their way. That's not selfish. That's spiritual responsibility. That is legacy in action. And now the third word, perhaps the quietest, the slipperiest, and yet the most dangerous, just in case. It creeps in like fog under a door. I'll ask for healing, just in case God hears me. I'll pray for strength, just in case I'm meant to keep going. I'll speak this dream out loud, just in case it's not too late. Just in case is not faith. It is fear dressed in church clothes. It is insurance prayer. It is the language of people who have been disappointed too often and are afraid to expect too much. But I tell you now, with fire in my bones and reverence in my voice, God does not traffic in the language of maybe. The divine meets certainty, not stammering. This world will make you feel replaceable. It will hand you pills for your blood and names for your ailments and whisper that your best years are stored in old photo albums. But the Spirit knows no expiration date. So when you pray, do not hedge your bets. Do not say just in case. Say because I know. Say because I believe. Say because I am still here. And if breath is in my lungs, purpose is in my reach. I have sat beside beds where elders whispered their last prayers. Some said them with fear. Others said them with fire. The difference was not how long they lived, but how they spoke to the sky. One man said, Lord, I hope I did okay. Another said, Lord, thank you for every mountain I moved, and let this be my last one. One waited for mercy, the other claimed it. And that is what I want for you. You who have written history with your body and heart. You who have buried loved ones and carried grandchildren and endured the world's indifference. You who still rise each morning not because you have to, but because life itself has not dismissed you. Prayer should not be the place where your light dims. It should be where it explodes. I am asking you, no, I am begging you with all the strength in my voice to retire those 3 words from your sacred speech. Not because you are wrong, but because you are too right to be so quiet. Not because you are proud, but because your humility must not cost you your power. Say instead, I am ready, I am here, I am called. Say, I may be old, but I am not over. I may be tired, but I am not done. I may have aches in my bones, but there is thunder in my voice. You are not just. You are not only. You are not a just-in-case believer. You are seasoned, sanctified, and still standing. You are oak and iron and dawn and grace. Speak like it. So when next you pray, do so with the dignity of your years, the strength of your story, and the clarity of one who knows that the journey is not over. It is only shifting. And if someone ever asks you, why do you pray like that? You look them in the eye and say, because I earned the right to speak to God like someone who belongs there. Yes, you did. And may your prayers shake the heavens until your purpose on earth is done. Amen. You see, I have not come here today to simply correct your vocabulary. That would be easy. What I have come to do is awaken something that has been dozing beneath your ribs. I have come to stir the lion beneath the lace, the drum beneath the cardigan, the fire still smoldering beneath the stories you've learned to tell with a calmness that hides the chaos you endured to earn them. Let me say it plainly. Language is not just how we speak, it's how we believe. And belief is the currency of transformation. If we speak as though we are fading, we will fade. If we speak as though we are only here to endure, we will forget that we were made to ignite. The enemy of your purpose at this stage of life is not death. It is silence. Silence in how you live. Silence in how you dream. Silence in how you pray. When elders speak, nations should listen. And when elders pray, the very foundation of earth should tremble, not with fear, but with reverence. Because those prayers are not based on theory. They are carved out of reality. A young man may pray for wisdom he has not yet earned. A young woman may ask for clarity she does not yet understand. But you pray from the mountaintop, looking back at every valley, every flood, every war, every betrayal. You pray from the throne of memory and survival. And still too many of you whisper, let me speak to those who feel left behind. You were once the center of your home, the voice that named the holidays, the hands that wrapped the gifts, the feet that walked the midnight floors to hush crying babies. You paid mortgages and taxes. You buried your parents and held your children. And now you sit in rooms where people talk around you like your wisdom has somehow expired. I want you to reject that with every fiber of your being. The world may forget your worth, but heaven never does. And heaven listens for your voice in prayer, the way a child listens for their mother's song in the dark. But the sound that rises cannot be one wrapped in apology. No more, I'm just a burden. No more, I'm only trying to hold on. No more, just in case, Lord. Speak instead, God. Use me now as you used me then. Say, give me words for the weary. Say, I will not go quietly into forgetting. You are not in the twilight. You are in the harvest. You are the elder fruit, full and seasoned. And the world needs your sweetness now more than ever. There are generations growing up without roots. And you are the roots. You have stories that need telling, prayers that need speaking, dreams that need witnessing. Let me ask you, when was the last time you prayed not just for peace but for impact? When was the last time your prayer felt like a dare? We've been taught to believe that audacity belongs to the young, that purpose is for the vigorous. But that is a lie written by a world obsessed with speed and skin. You are not too late. You are right on time. Moses was not called in his youth. He was called when he could no longer rely on his strength, so that his strength would be faith. Anna the prophetess in the temple was not a child. She was an elder, waiting, praying, watching for the light. And it was she, not the young, not the strong, who first proclaimed the coming of salvation. Your prayer life is not a side note. It is a power source. Now let's talk truth. Let's talk about how grief tries to steal your tongue, about how pain, disappointment, and years of unanswered prayers can make you hesitant. I do not stand here as a stranger to suffering. I know what it means to watch time chip away at your expectations. I know how the years can make your prayers smaller, not because God has shrunk, but because hope has grown tired. But I need you to understand something deep and holy. Tired hope still works. Even worn-out faith can move mountains. You don't need a new vocabulary, you need a new courage. When you kneel, when you close your eyes, when you speak in that secret place, do not offer God leftovers. Don't say, I'm just tired, when what you mean is, I am afraid that my life is no longer useful. Say it, speak it boldly. Let your prayers be honest, not edited. Let your conversation with the holy be raw, not rehearsed. God can work with raw. God can handle your heartbreak, but God cannot bless what you hide. So open your mouth and speak like someone who knows the weight of silence and the power of words. Speak not as someone auditioning for attention, but as someone who already has it. Say, Lord, if you woke me this morning, then I will not waste your breath. Say, if you have allowed my heart to keep beating, then let that beat count for something. Say, if the world sees my gray hair and assumes I am fading, let my words shake their ignorance. There are no small prayers for those who have lived through great pain. So speak boldly, pray fiercely, live completely. There is a myth that the last chapters of life are for rest. But I say to you now, they are for revelation. They are for revolution. They are for remembering what was and reshaping what will be. Because here's the thing about your age, it is not a liability. It is a credential. You know what it is to lose without quitting. You know what it is to hope without reason. You know what it is to keep loving when it hurts. That is not weakness. That is strength born from a life well lived. And that strength, that is what your prayers should carry. If you want to pray like an elder, then do not pray small. Pray with the authority of someone who has been through the storm and come out soaked in purpose. Pray like someone who knows that time is short, but eternity is not. Pray like someone who has watched the world change, but who knows that the Spirit does not. Pray like someone who knows that even in your final breaths, you can birth something eternal. This world does not need more timid saints. It needs elders who roar. It needs seniors who declare blessings over broken cities. It needs voices that rise from nursing homes and kitchen tables and hospital beds with prayers that pull the future closer. If you feel weak, let your weakness become your song. If you feel forgotten, let your voice make them remember. If you feel afraid, speak anyway. Speak like the rivers that carved valleys into mountains. Slow, strong, unstoppable. Your words matter. Your prayers matter. Your voice is not an echo of the past. It is the guidepost of the present. It is the trumpet of tomorrow. So let me leave you with this, from my heart to yours. Never say again, I am just. Never say again, I only ask for. Never pray again, just in case. Instead, say this: I am a vessel. I am a witness. I am a warrior. I am still here. And if God has left you here, It is because there is more to be done, more to say, more to give, more to love. So speak, pray, live, fully, boldly, with fire in your voice and grace in your bones, because you are not finished, you are not forgotten, you are not just, you are the echo of 1,000,000 ancestors, you are the prayer of generations come to life, and we need you now more than ever. Amen. There is something else I must say, and I say it with trembling reverence. The moment you begin to speak differently to God is the moment you begin to live differently among people. You see, prayer is not an island. It is not a thing we do in private that stays private. It spills, it overflows, it trickles down into our posture, into our decisions, into the way we look at our neighbors, into the way we forgive old wounds, or cling to them like medals from wars we never truly won. If your prayers are weak, your walk will be weary, but if your prayers are bold, your life, no matter how late in the day, will radiate a power no age can diminish. I have seen elders who prayed bold, and I have seen those who didn't. The difference is not subtle. One walks into a room and brings silence, not the reverent kind, but the absent kind. You know it, you've seen it. They say things like, "There's nothing left for me to do." They live in memories as if today were a mistake. Their prayers are whispered apologies for still being here. Their presence does not disturb dust, it gathers it. Then I've seen others. Oh, I've seen them. They walk into a room and space bends around them. They do not speak loudly, but everything about them says, "I am still creating meaning." They do not apologize for the air they breathe. Their prayers are declarations. Their presence is ministry, not because they are preaching, but because they are alive and know it. It's not about charisma. It's about conviction. It's not about how many people listen. It's about how deeply they live. You may be the only elder in your family who still prays. Then pray louder. Pray clearer. Let your grandbabies hear you. Let your neighbors hear you. Let your own weary soul hear you. Because someone needs to witness that old does not mean empty. That tired does not mean finished. That quiet does not mean invisible. You, dear one, are a lighthouse, and prayer is your beam. You must shine, even if the ships no longer pass like they used to. You must shine because that is your nature. You must shine because darkness is always watching for permission to settle in. And your voice, when it speaks truth, is the thing that keeps it at bay. Let me speak now to those of you who feel forgotten. It is a terrible thing to feel forgotten. It is a worse thing to begin believing that you deserve it. But your worth was never based on how many people call your name, or how many children check in, or whether your opinion is still asked around the dinner table. No, your worth is not social. It is sacred, and so is your voice. So when you go before the divine, do not bring the scraps of your dignity. Bring the full feast. Speak like the child of a king. Pray like the heir to a legacy. Ask like one who has been invited, not like one who has broken in. There is a table for you. There has always been a table for you, and your prayer should be made from the seat of that table, not from the floor beneath it. Do not trade your inheritance for the language of insecurity. Let me say that again, so it soaks in. Do not trade your inheritance for the language of insecurity. You don't need to say, "I'm just," to soften your presence. You don't need to say, "I only," to make your requests more palatable. You don't need to say, "just in case," to hedge your faith against disappointment. God is not offended by your boldness. He is moved by it. Remember the woman with the issue of blood. She did not say, "I am just unclean." She did not say, "I only want to be touched." She did not say, "just in case he sees me." No, she reached. She reached without permission, without apology, without pretense. That's prayer, not polite, not neat, not small, but real. You have earned the right to reach. And let me tell you something that may stir you to tears, because it did me the first time I understood it. There are answers still waiting on the other side of your new prayer. Not recycled prayers. Not habitual ones. Not the prayers you've memorized like poems and recite without meaning. No, I mean the prayers you have been too afraid to speak. The ones you buried because you thought time had disqualified them. The ones that ask for renewal when you've only dared to ask for relief. The ones that say, "Use me, not excuse me." There is still territory for you to claim, not land and titles, but legacy. Legacy is not what you leave, it's what you live. And the language of legacy is shaped in prayer. The young are watching how you speak to God. They are learning how to age from you. They are learning how to love from you. They are learning how to stand when your knees ache, and your back bends, and your body becomes more memory than muscle. Your language teaches them whether the soul expires before the body or not. So what are you teaching? Are you teaching them that prayer is a hospital for the weak, or a headquarters for the wise? Are you showing them that aging is decline, or that aging is consecration. You can change the world without ever leaving your home. All you need is breath. All you need is to believe that your voice still matters. And I'm here to tell you it does. If you've lived 60, 70, 80 years and still don't think you've done enough, let me liberate you. Doing enough was never your calling. Being faithful was. Speaking boldly was. Loving fully was. And it still is. You are not a museum. You are not a relic. You are not a shadow. You are a pillar. You are a temple. You are a flame still burning. And your prayers should carry the weight of that fire. So if you must begin again, then begin again. Let today be the day you retire smallness from your speech. Let today be the day you trade whispers for wisdom. Say it with me now, not because it's dramatic, but because it's true. I am not just. Say it again. I am not only. Say it louder. I am not just in case. I am on purpose. I am present. I am powerful. Let these not be lines in a speech. Let them be stones in your foundation. Speak like you expect mountains to move. Pray like your breath is borrowed from eternity. Live like you are still writing the chapter someone else will need to read. Because the truth, my beloved, is that someone is reading. And what they see in you will shape their idea of what it means to age, what it means to pray, what it means to persist. So let them see a fire that did not go out. Let them see a faith that did not shrink. Let them hear a voice that refused to be silenced. Let them know by your example that the elder is not the end, but the anchor. You do not speak for the past. You speak from the past into the present, and forward into forever. Your prayers can be that bridge. So stand tall in your soul, no matter how bent your spine. Speak life with your lips, even if your hands shake. Declare truth with your voice, even if it quivers. And remember, always remember, you are not finished. You are not fading. You are not forgotten. You are fire. You are faith. You are the sound of strength echoing through time. So pray, beloved. Pray like you know it changes things. Pray like it matters. Pray like someone who still believes. And when you do, when your voice lifts without apology, when your words carry purpose instead of permission, you will not only feel heaven respond, you will feel yourself come alive again. And that right there is what you were born for. Amen. So then what is left to say? Perhaps only this. You are not being asked to reinvent your prayers, but to re-inhabit them. To step back into the sacred space with the full weight of who you are now. Not the younger version. Not the shadow trying to make sense of regrets. Not the cautious spirit tiptoeing through hope. But the you who has endured. The you who has carried heartbreak without letting it turn your heart to stone. The you who has held on to love long after reason said it was time to let go. That is who heaven waits for. Heaven is not impressed by perfect grammar or proper posture. Heaven leans in for honesty. Heaven listens for surrender. Heaven watches for the moment a soul bruised and still breathing finally decides to speak as if it is not afraid to be seen. And you, my dear elder, have nothing left to fear from being seen. You've already walked through fire. You've already danced in the ruins of what others thought would destroy you. You've already survived not knowing how you would. So now, what could be greater than stepping into that quiet place and saying, "Here I am, Lord, still here, still yours, not lesser, not left over, but alive and ready." You don't have to know what the rest of the road looks like. You only have to walk it with your head held high and your prayers made loud enough to echo beyond your own walls. Because let's be real, this world is noisy, and the wrong voices are often the loudest. Fear is loud, shame is loud, lies are loud. And if you whisper truth in a world that shouts, it can be drowned out. So speak louder. Speak with that lived-in tone of someone who knows sorrow but did not marry it. Speak with the fierce gentleness that only those who've held dying hands and buried pieces of themselves along the way can offer. Speak with the joy of someone who has chosen light despite every reason to stay in the dark. Speak like your words carry healing, because they do. You may think you're too old to begin anything new, but your prayers can birth movements. They can break chains you'll never see fall. They can plant seeds in great-grandchildren not yet born. They can whisper comfort to strangers who never knew your name, but will feel your blessing in the wind. Do you understand that? Do you feel the gravity of that truth? Because it's not a metaphor, it's a reality. There are revolutions in the making, waiting only for someone like you to start praying with clarity and courage. Let me say this as plainly as I can. We cannot afford for our elders to be silent. We cannot build a better future without your voice shaping it. We cannot fight today's battles if yesterday's wisdom has been buried in soft-spoken shame. And we, all of us, your sons and daughters, your nieces and nephews, your godchildren and neighbors, we cannot grow well if you shrink. So let your prayers be tall. Let them stretch out across time. Let them speak the things that need to be named. Let them call out injustice, even now. Let them speak peace into broken homes. Let them wrap around the lonely and the afraid. Let them storm heaven like a march. Let them ring out like bells in the mist. You may not see the change your words create, but pray anyway, not for outcomes but for alignment, not for applause but for awakening, not for comfort but for truth. And if your voice trembles at first, keep speaking. Trembling is not a weakness. It is the sound of flesh making room for glory. It is the soul learning how to breathe again after holding its breath for too long. And you've been holding your breath in these small prayers, these hesitant, almost apologetic invocations that say more about your doubt than about God's power. Let that go. Take a deep breath now, even as you sit here, even as you read or listen to these words. Inhale purpose, exhale timidity, inhale memory, exhale regret, inhale vision, exhale fear, because your breath, yes, even now, is a blessing. And what you do with it matters. You are not done blessing. You are not done guiding. You are not done naming things with truth and power. And no matter who told you that your best days are behind you, I am here to tell you they were wrong. Because the best days are not the ones where your body felt strongest. The best days are the ones where your soul showed up and took its rightful place. And that day can be today, if you choose it, if you speak it, if you pray it. So make your way back into that prayer place, wherever it is, your bedside, your chair by the window, your garden, your quiet ride in the car, and pray like the future is listening, because it is. There are children right now, waking up into a world filled with noise and nonsense. They need your clarity. There are parents, overwhelmed and anxious, who need your calm. There are leaders, lost in ego, who need your wisdom to pierce the sky. You may not know their names. But prayer doesn't need a mailing address. It only needs a willing voice. Will you be that voice? Will you give us that gift? Not one more day of I'm just, not one more moment of I only ask, not another breath wasted on just in case. You are an answer walking. You are a legacy speaking. You are a fire wrapped in skin and wisdom and time. And if you can believe that, if you can begin again from that place of holy understanding, then you will not only pray differently, you will live differently. You'll walk taller. You'll listen better. You'll speak more deliberately. You'll weep more honestly. You'll rejoice more freely, because you'll know, deep down, that your life still matters, that your voice still echoes, that your prayers still rise. And when you pray now, let it be like this. Let it be bold. Let it be blazing. Let it be wide enough to hold the world. And let it be yours, unedited, unashamed, unafraid, for you have earned the right to pray like a prophet. And we are ready to hear your song. So sing it, speak it, pray it, live it, and never ever again make your sacred offering small. And still some may ask, why now? Why does it matter now, after so many years, so many battles, so many moments that have passed in silence? I tell you, it matters now more than ever, because now is all we ever truly have. The past has become memory, and the future remains mist. But this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this trembling cry between you and the divine is solid and sacred. This is the altar. This is the offering. Now is where transformation happens. Now is where the embers become flame again. Now is where the elder becomes oracle, not because you have more years, but because you have the courage to speak them out loud. And what are those years if not a scripture of your own? You have lived through seasons that history books softened and movies romanticized, but you felt the weight of it. You bore it. You bled for what you believed in. You buried what could not be saved. And you danced when nothing else made sense. And now you hold a lifetime of sacred knowledge, not stored in books or degrees, but in scars and songs and prayers whispered over tired dishes and hospital beds. And still you hesitate to speak boldly to God. Still you shrink your prayers. Still you believe you must ask small because your body has grown frail. Oh no, beloved. Do not mistake the bending of your spine for the bowing of your soul. Your soul still stands tall. It remembers how to rise. Let it rise in your prayer. Let it rise without fear. Let it rise without those three wary words. I'm just I only. Just in case. They do not serve you. They do not reflect the truth of who you are. They do not honor the God who carried you through every valley. Why offer up what has no weight? Why dilute your faith with doubt disguised as humility? If humility means knowing who you are in relation to the divine, then speak from that place, not as a beggar but as a beloved. Speak like one who knows that your days are numbered, but not diminished. Speak like one who believes that even the closing chapter of a book can carry the power of the whole story. You have been given more than time. You have been given voice, and that voice is sacred. Do not lend it to fear. Do not rent it to guilt. Do not surrender it to shame. Let your voice be claimed by faith, by freedom, by fire. Because what is prayer, if not fire? Not the kind that destroys, but the kind that purifies, the kind that illuminates, the kind that warms those too cold to believe anymore. And we need that fire now. We need it in homes that have forgotten how to speak to one another. We need it in hearts that have gone numb from too much loss. We need it in churches that mistake performance for power. We need it in neighborhoods that no longer know each other's names. We need it from you, you who have seen so much, you who have loved so deeply, you who have learned that sometimes strength looks like sitting beside someone in silence and still holding space for their tears. Your prayers carry all of that. So do not silence them. Do not censor them. Do not make them small so others are more comfortable. Let them be what they were meant to be, holy, human, and whole. Let them weep and wail if they must. Let them celebrate with wild joy. Let them name the unspeakable. Let them declare the unimaginable. And if you have forgotten how, if you feel too distant from the boldness I speak of, then let me remind you how it sounds. It sounds like Hannah, praying so fiercely they thought she was drunk. It sounds like David dancing in prayer until dignity gave way to delight. It sounds like Mary, whispering, "Be it unto me," even as the world offered her no ease. It sounds like Paul and Silas singing in chains. It sounds like Jesus groaning in Gethsemane. It sounds like truth in the mouth of one who has nothing left to lose. And that, my dear elder, is you. You have nothing left to lose by praying big. No one can take from you what you've already given. So why not offer the fullness of your voice? Why not bless us with the sound of your soul unfurling? Do not leave this world with words unspoken. Do not leave this life with faith undeclared. Do not let death take what fear already silenced. You are still here. So speak like it. You are still breathing. So pray like breath matters. You are still beloved. So ask like you know it. If the young have forgotten how to dream, teach them by praying dreams into the air again. If the hurting have forgotten how to hope, show them how pain becomes prayer and prayer becomes power. If the disillusioned have turned cynical, model how age does not mean apathy but authority, because prayer at its core is not performance. It is partnership. You are not casting words into the void. You are co-creating reality with the eternal. You are naming what must be. You are resisting despair. You are building with breath. And we need builders. We need you. We need your voice strong, even when it shakes. We need your prayers honest, even when they ache. We need your faith active, not archived. So if you've been waiting for permission, this is it. If you've been waiting for the right moment, this is it. If you've been waiting to feel ready, know that being ready has never been the requirement. Being willing is. And if you are willing, if you will speak again with reverence and boldness, then watch what happens. Watch what shifts. Watch what rises. Not because you have magic in your mouth, but because you have truth in your bones, and truth always moves things. So come now, ancient ones. Come now, survivors. Come now, weary but not wasted. Lift your voice, lift your soul, lift your prayer, and do not hold back. The world does not need perfect prayers. It needs honest ones. It needs loud ones. It needs yours. So rise, not with your body but with your spirit, and pray. Pray with thunder in your chest. Pray with tears in your eyes. Pray with memory and mercy dancing together. Pray for the ones who can't. Pray for the ones who won't. Pray for the days you still have. Pray for the legacy that will outlive you. And above all, pray like you believe that every word is heard. Because it is. Because you are always.